I recently explained how the Spill universe started, and since then, a lot of you have questions and concerns. We didn't dive into the details of our company's origins before Spill because, frankly, we didn't think it was relevant. However, many people are interested, and some people even made their own speculations on how everything started. Many people have shared their conspiracies, and there's been a lot of misinformation spread around. So, it's time to clear the air and deliver the facts with receipts from the original source, us. We'll be addressing questions and concerns in the second half of the video, but many concerns should be answered through the timeline of our company's history. Let's get into it. I invited Roland, the man who made this possible, to help tell the story of how Odd and Spill came to be. So, where did it all begin?
So growing up, we were not a rich family. I mean, we had everything we needed, but like any extra toys or games or anything that I really wanted when I was growing up was not something that was easy for my parents to get. So I always felt like, hey, if I had more money, I could just get whatever I wanted, right?
Roland got his first job as soon as he was old enough to work, but he quickly realized it wasn't for him.
But when I got my first job at like 15 years old, I hated it so much. I hated having like a boss, I guess. The first boss I had, it was my first job. He was I just hated working for him. And I remember thinking like, that's what it is like to have a job. But like, I don't want a job. I want to figure out my own things.
So Roland figured out some side hustles.
I always thought that buying and selling things was cool. eBay was popular. I just knew how to get stuff and resell it. I was good at it. And I remember thinking, oh my God, it's so much more fun to just keep buying and selling stuff. So regardless of the jobs that I had, I always found myself like having so many side hustles just to replace that job.
Roland took his side hustles more seriously in university.
I remember being in university and I met this girl. So the side hustles were always like for fun, but I kind of started taking those seriously when I met this girl because I couldn't take her on a date. So I wanted to buy a car. So I made it a point to like hustle and just save up for this old car that I had to be able to go on a first date with her. And I made it happen, it worked.
But Roland noticed the side hustles wouldn't go very far.
And the idea of like blowing up those side hustles, scaling those side hustles was always in my mind. I'm like, hey, can I just do it better, do more of this? And I always thought that it was impossible because it was not scalable. I mean, I always tried and never succeeded.
Then he met another student that sparked his obsession with websites.
One day in university, I met this guy. We were in a computer class and I saw him kind of looking at a website. I didn't realize it was his at first. I was intrigued. I just sat down next to him, we started talking. And at one point he goes, oh yeah, this is my website. And I was like, what do you mean this is your website? Like you can have a website? I had no clue about anything that had to do with websites. I thought the idea of having your website was so crazy. And the idea that you could own a piece of the internet was kind of mind-blowing to me. I remember talking to him, I'm like, hey, how many people are on your website? And he's like, oh, a couple thousand. And I was like, whoa, you can have thousands of people on your website. So whatever you post there can be seen by like unlimited amount of people. And that concept for me was super crazy at the time. And I started actually being super obsessed with that. I'm like, hey, wait a minute. So, having a lot of people on the website, that's scalability right there. I can just write a piece and a lot of people can see it. And I don't have to write thousands of pieces. I just have to write, whatever I do. And that's how people can find me. And yeah, that's how I started like just being obsessed about websites in general.
Roland realized a website could solve his problem with scaling a business.
So even though it was unrelated to what I used to sell on eBay or whatever, I just thought that, hey, that's something different. That's something scalable. It solves my issue that I've always had. Let's look more into it. And the more I looked into it, the more appealing it became, the more reachable it became. And I remember thinking like, okay, that's it. I need to take this seriously because I can actually do something pretty crazy with that. I started figuring out how to build websites myself. I was in computer engineering, so that helped.
By his second year of university, Roland approached another student to start his first big project.
I met this one guy and we had like a project together in class and he was really good at programming. And I remember telling him, hey, you know how to code websites? And he goes, yeah, I know how to do that. So that's where I guess our first project started. I remember sitting down with him and be like, hey, I have good ideas. You know how to program stuff. Let's sit down and let's come up with our first cool project.
Roland, his classmate, and his partner at the time created a website called Favorize. Favorize was inspired by Reddit. At the time, Reddit outcompeted Dig, another online space for talking about hot topics.
And I remember seeing that website crashing and Reddit being, on the rise. And I was like, whoa, this is crazy. Reddit is just blowing up out of nowhere. That looks like a website we could do.
The three of them were sure they would outshine Reddit, so Roland incorporated Favorize.
We incorporated Favorize because we thought it was going to be the next big thing. So why wait? Let's just do it right away. We were a team of 3. Obviously, like as a partner, with partners, you have to make sure that everything is disclosed. So we did it. We did that incorporation.
But it wasn't that easy to become the next big social sharing website.
We programmed it. We worked on it for like over a year. Every night in Starbucks, we would just meet up there and work on it. We thought it was cool, but nobody actually ended up visiting it. So that idea never took off.
The trio didn't make any profit from Favorize.
We earned nothing from that.
And eventually, Favorize was shut down.
It ended up going nowhere, and it got dissolved in the future.
The 3 partners went their separate ways.
Nobody was interested in it anymore. So my 2 partners ended up getting jobs after university. They moved on with their lives. We broke up, and she ended up moving on with her life, getting a job. He also did the same. Nobody found interest in sticking together, and I didn't want to work on it anymore.
But Roland couldn't bring himself to get a traditional job like the others.
I remember my ex telling me, hey, go get a job. Let's stop wasting time with this. And I did apply. I did get a job, but I refused it. I knew I was going to hate my life, so I'd rather do something I like and take the risk. And it was a huge risk because honestly, I was giving up on my degree, but I was willing to do that because at the end of the day, I wanted to do something that I actually liked.
Roland was already working on another big project, this time with his brother.
So while we were working on Favorize, he had that idea of a talent website. It was called Talent Shine. I thought, we can make a platform where we can find talented artists and promote them. So we did it. I worked on that for about a year after Favorize closed.
Roland was also excited about this project and incorporated Talent Shine.
Talent Shine was also incorporated. But yeah, it was all the excitement, right? You started a new project, you're like, this is gonna work. So you just go ahead and do the corporation right away. But incorporating is not, I guess, that important until you know it's gonna work because you're just wasting your time and money.
Talent Shine didn't work out.
It got a bit of traction. We never made any money out of it because there was no ads on it. Yeah, so a lot of people liked it, but I just felt after a year or almost 2 years, it wasn't going anywhere again. I didn't understand why at the time. We had a good product, but nobody really found it. So again, we ended up just leaving it online for a couple of years and then just shutting it down.
But Roland still had more projects in mind.
So while working on Favorize, we did work on other projects as well. We worked on a deal platform. It was called Delirious. We also worked on a debate platform. It was called Clash Talk. And I even incorporated a project I had in mind called We Write Web to help local businesses have better looking websites. But yeah, it never went anywhere. It was always working on different platforms.
Eventually, Roland settled on making a blog. Drool'd was a website that featured articles about unusual but cool gadgets and tech. It was inspired by another gadget blog called This Is Why I'm Broke.
I remember looking at it, I'm like, hey, they're only writing 2 lines per product. You don't need to be a good writer to run a website. And I kind of got me inspired because I was like, hey, I'm not a good writer. They don't write a lot. I can do it.
This was the first time Roland had to write articles.
I'm not a good writer, so I thought at least I need to do something I'm interested in. And I did Drool'd, which is a gadget blog. I really like gadgets and tech. Even though the writing was not perfect, it was at least fun.
Drool'd was different from the first 2 websites because it didn't rely on other people to create the content. Favorize required stories from other people, and Talent Shine required musically talented people. With Drool'd, Roland was responsible for building up the content.
I would just research online for so long, keep looking, and then I would pick, let's say, the best 10 of the day, and I would be really selective. And then I'm like, okay, those are 10 cool products. I'm gonna showcase those. So now I was like, you know what? I'm gonna fill up this website. I'm gonna write 5 articles per day. I'm not gonna give up. My goal was to basically write 1,000 articles in 1 year. That's the goal that I set to myself, which I actually did.
Roland had to find a way to share his articles with people.
I would post them on Reddit. People on Reddit hate that. So I stopped doing this and I'm like, okay, well, I need to be, somewhere. So the next thing, I remember being on Facebook and seeing cool products. I was like, hey, I'm talking about cool products. Let me create a Facebook page.
Drool'd didn't perform well at the beginning.
Oh my God, it was so hard. It took 1 year, about 1,000 articles to get 800 fans. And I didn't want to quit. I just thought, hey, 800 fans, that's pretty cool.
Eventually, one of the products on Drool'd went viral.
So I remember one day I found this table, I think it was, where the chairs were kind of embedded in it or something like that. And it was super late at night. I posted this and then I went to get like a snack or something. And I came back and I refreshed the page and it had like 1,000 people liking it. And I was like, hey, how is that possible? I only have 800 fans. Like, there's no way you can have 1,000 people. And the share count on the post was so high. And that's when I realized, holy crap, people are sharing this. And I think in no time, we hit like 10,000 fans on Facebook. And I was like, whoa, 800 over a year and then 10,000 fans in just like a month later.
This viral moment made Roland realize that quality content mattered.
So what I was doing was right. The goal that I had was to pick quality stuff. I never stopped and it worked. I just kept doing it. And eventually 10,000 turned into 100,000. And yeah, and then it just kept growing from there.
But Roland wasn't making any profit from Drool'd.
At first I was like, hey, no ads. I don't want to put ads because people, get disturbed. The experience is not good. They won't be able to share it.
Instead, he was working a part-time job in retail to earn money to run his websites.
So yes, those corporations and those projects, they do cost money to run and they do take a lot of my time, but I obviously did not earn anything from those. So I always had retail jobs from the time I was 15 all the way till I was 26. I always had something, either full-time or part-time, but yeah, retail jobs was the way to go for me to survive.
While Roland was working on Drool'd, he created another website.
I remember at one point I was like, hey, this is hard to find cool products all the time. And I remember seeing a lot of cool like art or artists. I mean, I can't put it on Drool'd, but it's worth sharing, definitely. And I decided to create a second blog that would showcase artists and their work. And I called it Marvelous, which was inspired by the Marvel universe. I was a big fan of Marvel.
Roland also wrote the articles for Marvelous. All the artwork was hand-picked by him. They were pieces he had saved over time simply because he liked them so much. It wasn't long before one of his articles went viral.
I was so surprised because it didn't take like more than a week, I think. And the first article, I think I had written like 5 articles, and the first article goes super viral, like more viral than I've ever seen anything on Drool'd at that point. And I was like, whoa, this is crazy. People actually like that.
This was the first time Roland decided to test out ads on his websites.
And then I was thinking, hey, I wonder what would happen if I put an ad, like how much can I earn from this? So I put an ad on this article and it was basically at the end of its viral lifetime, I guess. So it didn't get really a lot of impressions. And then I just left the ads there on the website. And I think a week later, for some odd reason, a second article on Marvelous goes viral again, just as much as the first time. But this time I had the ad and I remember getting like millions of hits and making like $1,000. And I was like, whoa, one article just made us $1,000. This is insane. That's it. It is actually scalable.
This was a big turning point in life for Roland.
So I finally realized I can actually live off of this. So what I liked doing was, more than just a hobby. For the first time I had proof that I could actually live off of that and not worry about getting a job or working as an engineer, I guess.
Roland decided it was a good time to incorporate. He named the corporation Odd. It was registered in 2013. The name was inspired by the type of content featured on Roland's websites.
One thing that I always kept in mind was that I needed to present something awesome to the people. Whether it's a product, whether it's an artwork, it had to be different, it had to be odd, but it also had to be awesome. And it's after that post went viral that I remember being, okay, I need to incorporate now. And I basically incorporated with the name Odd because I thought that's exactly what's behind my concept. AWED stands for odd, as in to be odd, but also sounds like odd, like something weird. And I thought that was a genius name.
Around this time, Roland decided to look for help again. Roland couldn't write fast enough for 2 websites, so we hired someone with writing experience.
So I decided to look into freelancers. So I went on Fiverr. I remember finding this one guy, and he would write from home. He would help me.
Roland worked with freelancers for a year until he realized it wasn't stable.
And eventually, I just felt like dealing with freelancers was getting harder and harder. People being late on delivering the articles. So I decided, you know what, if I want to scale this properly, I can't just work with freelancers. That's not going to work. I need to find someone to help me locally.
That's when Roland decided to rent an office and hire someone locally.
So then I found this office. I had to lease it for a year, and I found someone to join, and it was just the two of us. She was a part-time student, so she helped me from time to time, and we started building up Drool'd and Marvelous.
But things didn't get better for Roland. Drool'd and Marvelous articles weren't going viral, and that meant there was little money coming in from ads. Roland continued to work part-time on weekends to pay for the office and the student he hired. Eventually, the student went back to school.
That was nice because I couldn't afford paying her anymore. So I went back home. I kept working from home. The office was empty. I was still paying for it.
Shortly after, things started to pick up again, so Roland decided to hire another part-time student to help.
She was a really fast writer, and I remember not having enough stuff because at the time I would find things for her, and I felt like I couldn't find enough stuff. Some days on Drool'd, there was not a lot of cool gadgets, or I couldn't find enough, cool artwork to share.
This motivated Roland to create another website to provide more work for the part-timer.
And that's when Unwindly came to be.
Unwindly was a website that featured awesome, odd, and heartwarming stories about people around the world.
And it was basically the concept of, hey, on Unwindly, you're going to go there to unwind.
Even though the company was running 3 websites, income was still unstable.
So at the time, the finances were it was up and down. You never knew if you were going to have a good month. It was 100% based on if we get something to go viral on the internet. So I was never able to really scale it easily.
Eventually, the student left to go back to school. The office lease was up, so Roland decided to work from home. After some time, Drool'd blew up and gained nearly 400,000 fans.
And that's when I thought okay, now we have stability. So I went back and I looked for another office. And this time I was like, I'm not going to take a big office because I'm going to have the same problem and I don't want to have to pay for an empty office again. So I found a small balcony. I think they charged me $400 a month. But you know what? That was enough because I could sit there, I could have 1 or 2 other people fit in this balcony, and that was cool.
Before Roland began hiring, he finally decided to quit his part-time job.
I was like, okay, now I need to focus. I need to be able to manage this better. I have to give it all my attention. So that's when I quit my other job and I put all my time, including my weekends now on the company.
So Roland hired another student. He worked with Roland for a year before leaving for Spain. The next hire was also a student. She suggested hiring more people because the workload was too much at this point.
So I put an ad to find someone else, and then I ended up having 2 other people join part-time. One of these people was Taylor. So Taylor had a journalistic background, and I was like, damn, that's crazy. We finally have someone that knows about this. Instead of me just writing stuff or getting freelancers to write articles, we actually had quality and from a reputable source join the team. So we were a total of 4, 1 full-time and then 2 part-time, and me.
Expanding the team was stressful at the time.
We were still based on the same idea that, hey, we need things to go viral, otherwise we're gonna have a hard time this month. And I mean, most of the time we were fine because Drool'd was picking up so fast. But I have to admit, we had months that were really, really hard. Things started to slow down on all 3 websites. I remember that 1 month being very stressed and having to actually take money from family to be able to do payroll. And that month I was like, hey, we can't just keep going this way. I need to figure out something else.
One of the part-time employees recommended branding all 3 websites.
And that's when Jason on the team, he recommended, hey, maybe we should, put all these 3 websites into one name, something people can recognize instead of having our fans being scattered all over the place. So trying to find a name to kind of associate all the 3 websites that we had, I knew that it had to mean something awesome. I needed something catchy, but something that people can understand and relate to. Often if you ask someone, hey, how are you? They're gonna say, good, good, you. So I've heard that so many times. I was like, wow, a lot of people just say good, good without realizing. I thought it was a cool name. I'm like, hey, let's just go with that.
The team slowly stopped updating Drool'd and Unwindly and shifted all their content onto GoodGood. GoodGood had sections to replace all the existing websites, and more sections were added as we found more cool products and stories. Roland wanted GoodGood to focus on good things.
So I kind of imagine GoodGood as this big magazine where you discover only good content. Because if you take any magazine, any news channel, they're always going to talk about the good stories, but also the bad stories, because the bad stories or the negative or sad stories, they get a lot of attention. But I thought like, hey, let's just focus on like a positive channel, I guess. And it's important to have like people discuss the bad stuff, but there's a lot of people doing it already. I'm like, we don't need to do that as well. So we can differentiate ourselves by like focusing on the good stuff. And it fit really well with the brand GoodGood.
GoodGood was a success.
So it took about 4 years to grow Drool'd from nothing to 800,000 fans. And in like not even 4 months, I think we hit our first 1 million fans on GoodGood. So people loved the brand. Connecting everything together was such a good move. Everything just blew up out of the water in no time. In about a year, we were close to 4 million fans across all our pages.
For the first time, Roland wasn't worrying about income.
With GoodGood, it was growing so quickly. I don't remember us having, a hard time during that time. It was just growing consistently, so we always did good. So most of our revenue was from AdSense. At the time, we barely had any sponsors. We had affiliate links with Amazon for our products. I think we had like a handful of sponsors, but they were not paying a lot. They were paying probably a couple $100 each. For all products, except if it said sponsored post on it, it was basically our judgment. It was our decision. It was our call to pick that product and feature it. It was absolutely not from a third party.
What was the secret to this success?
I think it's just that we focus on quality content. So regardless if it was stories or art or cool gadgets, it had to be something people would love because that's how people share things.
Roland decided it was a good time to take some of the workload off his hands.
So at the time I was doing all the video edits for all the articles that we had. And with 3 people writing, it was impossible for me to catch up. I was always behind. There's a whole bunch of articles that were waiting for me. So I decided to get more editors to join the team.
Roland also hired someone who was passionate about filming to get better shots of certain products.
And I remember looking at products that were cool, and one thing they were missing was actual substance in their videos. We can't even help them get traction because their videos are so bad. And I remember thinking, hey, what if we can film those videos ourselves? And we started filming a few videos. I remember spending maybe just 5-10 minutes on some videos, and they would get millions of views on Facebook. And I was like, whoa, this is crazy. People love our stuff. And it felt so good that it was our video that we filmed ourselves.
Everything was great at this point.
So for everybody, GoodGood was still new. When you're working on something new, you don't have time to feel exhausted about it. It was kind of exciting that we were growing for the first time. We were seeing success. Everybody was hyped.
But eventually, the team got bored of writing and editing for GoodGood.
They felt it was redundant. I also remember Taylor being kind of like bored writing all the same products because it's been almost a year now that she's been writing about products. So I was thinking, hey, maybe we should start shifting into producing videos instead of just like curating videos.
So we began filming craft videos that we would share on GoodGood. Around this time, Roland noticed Tasty was gaining traction on Facebook.
Tasty was blowing up at the time. We're like, whoa, this is crazy. And we can do this as well. And then we noticed that Tasty also had a YouTube channel. And we're like, hey, let's just put our videos on YouTube as well.
Roland posted the craft videos on YouTube, but it didn't do well. After a few months, Roland took 2 members off GoodGood to try running food channels. We created 2 channels, Yumzy and Served. Yumzy featured creative desserts. Served tried recreating popular foods. But we weren't successful with these videos.
They were doing absolutely bad. We just kept posting things and it never worked.
Roland realized what the issue was with the craft and dessert videos.
It was just doing things for the sake of doing things. Nobody really cared about those videos. And honestly, I think that's why they didn't work. And thankfully, we stopped that because honestly, there was absolutely no value behind those videos.
Served was an enjoyable project, but we're not expert chefs. And we don't even have a proper kitchen to cook in. So we gave up on that as well. Roland decided to shift the focus on content that mattered to people on the team, and content that was more realistic and achievable.
A couple of the guys on the team are big gamers, and I remember we were saying, hey, let's do like videos that we actually think are fun, something we can actually enjoy ourselves, something we would watch. And so we started the channel called Unwrap.
Unwrap was mainly about testing gaming tech.
Good mouse for an FPS accuracy. Pew pew, I need buttons, just a few.
It was successful.
And that's when we saw our first mega huge hit on YouTube, and I think we got like 2 million views on our second video or something like that. And it just kept going. So we would have a blast. They see me rolling, right? Is that what it is? We were in the other room. We would be filming gaming videos, cheering.
Oh my god, that was nice!
Screaming.
Another one! Oh my god!
Having so much fun. It was super successful as well.
We even got sponsors on certain products. But the rest of the team was still working on GoodGood, and they weren't so happy.
And I remember going onto the second side of the room and seeing everybody working on GoodGood super, depressed. Feeling like they were working on like lifeless projects. And I was like, damn, like that's actually unfair. Like, what if they could also do something they liked?
That's when Roland discovered 2 members of the team enjoyed watching similar YouTube content.
I remember seeing Taylor watching Shane Dawson's documentary, and she has 2 monitors working on GoodGood on the left and watching Shane Dawson on the right. And I could tell that her attention was more, on the Shane Dawson documentary. She had more fun watching that than working on GoodGood. And I kind of felt bad. I was like, hey, that's kind of boring. And I remember pitching the idea, hey, like, how do you feel about doing something that has to do with what you're watching? Paula also enjoyed those topics. I thought like we should do something that is different. And with her journalistic background and the artistic talent of Paula, I thought, hey, if they both work together, that would be crazy. So they collabed together, and in no time, Spill was formed.
The timing was great for the new channel. Shane had just released a new series about Jake Paul. Taylor and Paula were super excited to take on a project based on something they both enjoyed watching. We didn't hit millions of views right away, but the traction we were getting was still a lot for the new YouTube channel, and that was enough to call Spill a success. We eventually hit the millions when we started changing our writing style to be more journalistic and added an educational aspect in the second half of our videos. But at the end of the day, our success came from the people behind the projects.
I 100% believe that Unwrap and Spill are successful because of the people behind them, the people that are passionate about what they're doing for the first time. We had Unwrap with real gamers and real tech enthusiasts, and we had someone that actually cared about the community and journalism that were working on Spill.
And everyone eventually transitioned off of GoodGood.
So seeing the success of Unwrap, seeing the success of Spill, I just couldn't stop and think about the other people left on GoodGood. I thought everybody deserves a chance to work on something they liked. So slowly we started transitioning everybody out of GoodGood into something they actually liked doing. And that's how Brew was launched, and that's how the whole universe started taking place. So GoodGood now is on pause. There's nobody working on it anymore. I mean, I think everybody's happy not to be working on it. Is it gonna ever come back? I don't know. I think it'll only come back if there's someone actually passionate about boosting it again or working on it again and coming up with something fun for it. Until then, it's just there, waiting.
Now Roland has a new perspective on the workplace environment.
So when I first started everything, my goal was to be able to have something sustainable so that I don't have to go work for someone. And at this point right now, it's not about money anymore. It's about growing the team with people that like what they're doing. It's about being able to give those people, the chance to work on something they're passionate about and making a living out of it. Then it doesn't feel like a job. And if everybody feels like this here, well, then I'm happy.
We don't know how much we'll grow, but we do know we'll keep doing what we love.
I don't think we'll stop launching projects. As long as someone comes with an idea that they're passionate about and they'd like to make that their day-to-day, why not, right? If we can make it happen, if we can make an idea sustainable, I think that's the coolest thing. So hopefully that inspires people.
So you can see, Spill and all our other projects were self-made and started from scratch. There was a lot of experimenting before we got to where we are today. Now that you know the history behind Odd, we'd like to answer questions and concerns many of you have. Many of these concerns may answer themselves now that you know Odd's history, but we want to make sure nothing is misinterpreted. There are some concerns that Spill was created by YouTube. We have no special connection with YouTube or any other influencers. We post our content and get paid through AdSense just like any other channel. Spill is a character we developed independently without any contribution from others. Many people were confused with how we introduced Spill as a passion project. In the Spill Universe video, we said, Spill started out as a 2-person passion project, and it initially started as a side project, and it did. The Spill character was created when combining 2 people's passions. It was a side project, as the main focus for the rest of the team was still GoodGood at the time. As he explained earlier, Roland encourages everyone to explore what they're truly passionate about, and he'll help them find a way to make it sustainable. Basically, how to get paid to do what you love. In the Spill Universe video, we said, "But when Spill started to grow, the team grew too." And we did. When Spill started growing, the team grew to 4 people who all shared that same interest. And then more people started leaving GoodGood to start working on their own passion project. We have a lot of concerns about funding. Many people are asking if we work for large media companies. We don't. There are no investors or other corporations behind Odd. We work for ourselves. We've never had funding. Everything we have, we created ourselves. As Roland explained earlier, everything started with one person and no outside help. We had no financial support then, and we don't have financial support now. And yes, demonetization affects us a lot. We make just enough to run the company and slowly grow the Spill universe. Favorize Incorporated and Talentshine Incorporated aren't large media companies either. They're small startups that Roland tried launching many years ago, and they've all been inactive and shut down for a while now. GoodGood isn't a company. It's a project we started, but it's been on hiatus because it wasn't fulfilling for anyone involved. And it won't come back unless we have people on the team who are passionate about working on it. Many people are concerned with the size of our company. As Roland explained earlier, Odd is not a large company. We're nowhere near the size of A&E or have any sort of connection with them or other major networks. To reiterate, there are 14 people working for Odd. 11 of those people are working full-time. Only 4 people are currently working on Spill, and some of them are also simultaneously working on other projects within the Spill universe. Because we aren't a large team, we voice all the characters for the Spill universe and On the Hill ourselves. Some of us voice multiple characters.
Your video is neither hype nor lit.
Tea? You mean that stuff that costs money? Actually, tea precedes coffee by several centuries.
Bryce! Braden, that shirt really fits you well.
Even Roland voices a character, Mr. Maker.
Nah, I wasn't happy with that take. We're gonna do it again.
The rest of the team works on different Spill universe-related channels. Many question the timeline of incorporating Odd. We made 2 separate points in our video that people seem to jumble together. We talked about the Spill team growing, but when Spill started to grow, the team grew too. Then, later in the video, we explained why people register as a corporation. The purpose was to explain why we're incorporated. We didn't realize the date we incorporated mattered. Roland started working on Odd in 2012. He registered it in 2013 when his first project started to grow. And since then, he worked on many projects that don't exist anymore. In our Spill Universe video, we didn't discuss when Odd was registered or what Odd did prior to Spill because, quite frankly, these projects are not relevant to the Spill universe. However, we never claimed that Odd started when Spill did. In our Spill Universe video, we said Spill, the YouTube channel, started a year ago. They showed up out of nowhere almost a year ago. Many people had concerns about our videos getting demonetized. In our Spill Universe video, we showed a screenshot of multiple videos that got demonetized on our channel. Since then, many people have misinterpreted this screenshot as all of Spill's videos are demonetized. This is not true. We cropped out our monetized videos to illustrate our point that we had to deal with YouTube. At the time, we didn't realize people would misunderstand this as all of our videos being demonetized. To set the record straight, we have videos that are monetized, but we have plenty that are demonetized as well. Here's an uncropped screenshot. So, why don't we request a review for demonetized videos? There are a few reasons. We used to request a review when our videos got demonetized, but when we did, 2 things happened. 1. The video would take a few days to be reviewed. By the time the video got reviewed, it would already have the majority of views it would ever get. And monetization only happens from the moment the video is approved. None of the previous views are monetized. 2. The video would still be demonetized, even after being reviewed. And when that happened, we'd get this warning message. Repeated submission of ineligible videos, the same information, or insufficient documentation will not expedite the review time and may impact your ability to monetize videos in the future. We also found out that if you request manual reviews too frequently, your entire YouTube channel can get demonetized. This happened to a small channel with 70 videos. They shared the message they got from YouTube, which said, "Monetization disabled due to repeated submission of ineligible videos or insufficient documentation." Ineligible videos means your videos violate the advertiser-friendly content guidelines. And since some of the topics we cover can be controversial, we don't request a review when YouTube deems the video non-advertiser friendly. And that's also why you see a lot of heavy censoring on our videos. We want to report on controversial stories, but we want our videos to be monetized too. It's our source of income. We decided the risk of getting our entire channel demonetized was too big and stopped requesting reviews. Some people had concerns about stealing research and receipts from other channels. We've been getting this concern and we want to be completely transparent. We do not steal screenshots or research from other drama channels. We do our own research and gather our own receipts. But if the screenshot is deleted or the only source is from another drama YouTuber, we always give credit in the upper right-hand corner. We credit sources in this style because it looks cleaner on the screen. If it's exclusive content that only one YouTuber has discussed, we also give visual credit along with reading their name out loud. Plus, we always cite our sources in the description box so the viewer can double-check our information if they want, and they can learn more about the subjects we talk about. However, if we're reporting on the same big stories as other drama channels, there will be some overlap in what other channels say and what we say. Some people are concerned that Spill is eliminating other drama channels. When we started Spill, we never wanted to eliminate other drama channels. Spill isn't a commentary channel like most drama channels. We're more of a news channel that provides educational resources. Also, we don't think we're taking views from other channels. They always have the story out before us. If you're on our channel at this point, you're probably here for the educational aspect, or for a summary of the drama if it was too confusing as it was unfolding. Generally, we find that a lot of people who watch drama channels tend to watch more than one, whether it's to get the full story or because they like the person running the channel. We believe there's room for everyone. I know drama channels are becoming more popular, but healthy competition can be a good thing. It helps each of us stay at the top of our game and try new things to make our content better. Many people had concerns about our comment section on YouTube. As we started posting on YouTube, we noticed many people would leave distasteful comments targeting the people in our videos. We make it a point to keep our videos respectful, unbiased, and professional, and seeing derogatory comments on our videos was disappointing. We decided to hold comments for review until we figured out a way to filter the toxicity. We started including disclaimers at the beginning of our videos. However, even when we tried asking people to be constructive and not hateful, we were still getting nasty comments. And when we learned that YouTube was demonetizing videos that had inappropriate comments, we knew we needed to find a reliable solution. Philip DeFranco also tweeted about it. He said, YouTube left a comment and provided an update on what they've done to combat horrible people on the site in the last 48 hours. TLDR, disabled comments on tens of millions of videos, terminated over 400 channels, reported illegal comments to law enforcement. Team YouTube further explained on Twitter, with regard to the actions that we've taken, even if your video is suitable for advertisers, inappropriate comments could result in your video receiving limited or no ads. Yellow icon. In a blog post, YouTube expanded on this tweet. Based on our review of historical comments, a small number of channels that we have identified as having a high level of risk for predatory comments will not be able to re-enable comments, even with moderation. The owners of these channels will be notified of these actions. While Team YouTube said the limited monetization was specifically for videos that include minors and are at risk of predatory comments, we didn't want to take any chances. But that hasn't changed anything. Some of our videos are still being demonetized, and even today, we don't have a reliable solution. The comments are now back to normal. Reviewing all the filtered comments manually is impossible, so we recently set strong filters to block out curse words and extremely inappropriate comments. Several people have complained about toxic commentary, and we take this seriously. We even stopped premiering our episodes because of toxic comments in the live chat. We'll always welcome constructive criticism, but hateful comments are not okay. At the end of the day, we don't want our comment section to be toxic. Many people have thanked us for keeping the comment section constructive, respectful, and friendly. And to help keep it that way, we want to encourage our fans to report toxic comments. Many people had concerns about our age. In a video about Area 51, Spill said, "I'm going to be away for today. I've got a big group project at school that really needs to get done." This was simply a reference to our animated series On the Hill. We even left a little Easter egg in the video. It says Hillmark Academy on her book. Spill was referencing the setting of the series, Hillmark Academy, a fictional school for aspiring content creators. The video also ends with a direct link to the On the Hill channel. Many of us did start at Odd when we were in our last years of university. Some are still in school. However, by the time Spill was created, Taylor and Paula had recently graduated. Some people claimed we deleted another T channel to use the name Spill. We didn't delete a channel. Anyone can pick any channel name they want, meaning there are channels with the same name. However, everyone has a unique channel URL. The channel URL is also known as the channel ID. It's a long string of letters and numbers that can be found by looking at the YouTube channel's URL. You can get a custom URL that will point to the channel ID, but this custom URL cannot be the same as existing custom URLs that other channels have used. Our custom URL is youtube.com/spilltea, but keep in mind custom URLs are not applicable to every channel. There are a few things your account needs, like having at least 100 subscribers. Many people claim we deleted public information about Odd. We never deleted any information about our company. Our company information is public record, and it's relatively easy to find online. When drama channels started making videos about us, several members of our team put their social media accounts on private to protect themselves from harassment, not to hide or cover their tracks. Many people have taken our story out of context, and we wanted to address this ourselves. Many of our fans were confused, and we wanted to give you answers. And many wanted our origin story, which we didn't think was that exciting. So here you have it. There's a lot about our story that you'll have to take our word for. We can't exactly prove that we aren't YouTube's secret project other than by telling you we aren't. All we have is the truth from the people who were there when everything happened. Our company tried a lot of things. Not all of them were successful, and the things that were successful didn't make us happy. But the whole Spill cinematic universe, as our fans like to call it, that makes us really happy. And it makes doing what we love for a living possible. And we hope our little universe makes you happy too.